No one saw it coming. Many were sleeping. But that date that will live in infamy, December 7th, 1941, changed the lives of millions all over the world forever. Hey everybody, this is Colonel Carson with Family Tree Nuts, and I'm in Paris Cemetery in Paris, Kentucky, and we are about to witness the interment of a formerly unidentified sailor that died at Pearl Harbor. He has finally come home. His name is Alphard Stanley Owsley. His mother, Ida Layton Owsley, gave him the first name Alfred after the star Alfred, which is one of the brightest stars in the night sky. Alfred is considered a giant star, which is larger and brighter than our own sun. Family says that Stanley was definitely his mother's bright star. At Stanley's birth, the governor of Kentucky was named Augustus Owsley Stanley. Certainly his parents wanted Stanley's name to be a tribute. Stanley enlisted in the Navy in May of 1938, and he had made it to electrician's mate 3rd class. He was stationed on the U.S.S. Oklahoma, and when he found out that he would be going to Hawaii, I'm certain that he was excited for that adventure. It is unlikely that Stanley ever knew what happened that day. The U.S.S. Oklahoma was hit several times and capsized. The family heard on the radio that the U.S.S. Oklahoma was one of the ships hit at Pearl Harbor, and they feared the worst. A few days later, the family received a telegram that he was missing, and soon another telegram arrived saying that he was considered dead. The family always wondered if his body was lost to the ocean or was he one of the unknowns that were buried in Hawaii. 429 sailors on the U.S.S. Oklahoma died at Pearl Harbor. They weren't recovered until 1944 when they righted the ship. Only 35 could be identified. The remaining 396 sailors were buried as unknowns in Hawaii. In 1947, the Navy exhumed them in an unsuccessful attempt to identify them. They were reburied in 1950 in the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. Then in 2015, there was new interest to identify the sailors using modern DNA advancements. In January 2021, 300 of the 396 unidentified sailors had been identified. Stanley Owsley's remains were identified with the help of DNA from his then 102-year-old sister, Ida Owsley Linville. She was 2 years older than Stanley, and it is said that she missed him terribly. Unfortunately, Mary Ida died in May of 2020 at the age of 104 before knowing that her efforts had made it successful to identify her dear brother's remains. But today, he will finally be laid to rest next to his sister in his native Bourbon County, Kentucky. Another Kentucky sailor was identified along with Owsley and brought back home. His name is Floyd Helton, and he was buried in Pulaski County, Kentucky just a few days ago on July 31st. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has ordered flags to be lowered half-staff on today in the two sailors' honor. Beshear said for almost 80 years, families of the sailors who died on the U.S.S. Oklahoma could mourn their sons and fathers, brothers and husbands from only a distance. But thanks to the persistence of the military in identifying them, Kentucky sailors are finally coming home. Now we will observe the honoring of Alphard Stanley Owsley, who is being placed at rest with his family.
Stanley was considered killed in action. What horrible months those must have been. My great-grandmother said her heart would never be full again. In 2015, permission to exhume the graves of these sailors was obtained in order to identify the remains. My father was contacted, and he and my grandmother provided DNA samples. My grandmother was aware of what she was doing at the time, and I'm sure she hoped she would live long enough to have him identified and brought home. At the end of May 2020, Mary Ida Owsley Linville died at the age of 104. A few months later in September, the Navy contacted my father to report that Stanley was found. We celebrated the discovery, yet grieved that Nanny wasn't here for the news. My father knew that Nanny would want Stanley buried near her, and we gathered today to do just that. Alphard Stanley Owsley, we honor you for your service and for the ultimate sacrifice you made. This family reveres your memory. You are a hero.
I want to take a personal moment. I have attended and officiated many funerals. Never one as poignant as this one. I've chosen words from Psalm 139. The unknown person who came to gather these words together was speaking about the relationship with God. That whoever we are, whatever we are, we cannot escape the love of God. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind, and before, and lay upon me your hand. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, and it is so high that I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the furthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth.
Uncle Stanley was my great uncle. Unfortunately, I never got to meet him. Didn't really talk a whole lot about him. I guess it was just something that, it was silent suffering, I guess. But it's good to see him home. I didn't think it would be really a big deal. Honestly, I thought it'd be just a small little, ceremony, but it's really inspiring to see the state police, the Bourbon County Sheriff's Office, the Rolling Thunder, the Navy, all, put a lot into it and make it worth something. I think that'll do for mine. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Kelly Gagan. This is my husband Philip and Patrick and McKenna. Stanley was my great uncle, and my grandmother was just the most wonderful person in the world, and she mourned the loss of her brother for years, and she didn't like to talk about it, but you could tell, that was they were very close, and this just means so much to bring him home and have all this support from the Navy and the community, and our family just wants to thank everybody for making this happen.
Rolling Thunder, want to say thank you to them, because they were here when they brought him back down here last week and here again today, and they really
went above and beyond.
Went above and beyond, yeah, for sure.
I think he's
Yeah.
very proud to be an American.
Yes, we're just proud to be part of this family and here today. So,
You know, it's kind of crazy. I mean, he was only, I'd say, 3 years older than I am right now.
Yes.
And for him to, pass away 80 years, and for me to be, alive and be able to experience this, I feel kind of lucky. I know it's under odd circumstances, but for me to be how old I am now and for him to be only a few years older than me, it feels kind of weird.
Not everyone gets to have that opportunity for someone to attend a funeral of someone who passed away 80 years ago, and it's just great that the Navy worked countlessly to find his remains and for this to all happen.
Especially being, blood related to it, I feel honored and I feel proud to even just be related to him. I never knew him.
Yes.
We were born just so far apart, but I knew if I did get to meet him, I'd still feel the same way, even though under these circumstances today.
I'm BJ Linville Short. I am the daughter of Edward Linville, who is the nephew of Stanley Owsley. My dad and my grandmother gave the DNA so that Stanley was able to be identified. The Navy has met with us several times. They have been absolutely fabulous. The Rolling Thunder, I couldn't say enough about that organization. But my grandmother loved Stanley. She talked a lot about his service, not as much about him personally. I think maybe it was too hard for her. But she would be so happy that he's home. And all of this we did because of her. She passed away in May. He was identified in September. And I can just feel her smile that he is home.
On behalf of the President of the United States Navy, and a grateful nation, I present you this flag as a token of appreciation for your country's honor and service. God bless you.
What a powerful, moving experience this ceremony was. It's almost incomprehensible to learn that after 80 years, this American hero, this local Kentucky boy, has finally found his way home. Stanley Owsley's name is recorded on the walls of the missing at the Punch Bowl, along with others that are missing from World War II. A rosette will be placed next to his name to indicate that he is now accounted for. It's moments like these that makes our hearts swell with pride and adoration for those that made the ultimate sacrifice for America. God bless Electrician's Mate 3rd Class Alfred Stanley Owsley. Fair winds and following seas, and God bless America.